assistant, and we have Alex
Rankarati.
Rankarati, who is our new health agent, who will be working with the Board of Health. Alex, we are so pleased to have you with us, and thank you so much. Thank you so
Very much.
Let's, Greg Mish is, our third member, is out on medical leave. We have had a chance to review the minutes from last.
Yep, if
okay,
everyone's,
Make a motion to.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Okay, and we will vote to accept the minutes. Mastrangelo,
Yes.
yes. Mosler, yes. So we have accepted the minutes. Without further ado, Alex, you want to just take a few minutes, tell us about yourself, or and we can talk a little bit about. I think you have spoken with Margaret about.
Yeah, we've been in
What
correspondence.
are, okay,
Yeah.
great. So
Yeah.
we don't have to, we're not going to keep you for too long, but
Yeah.
just give a brief.
Yep, so I'm Alex Rankarati. I'm a health inspector for the town of East Long Meadow. I have my master's in public health from UMass in environmental health, and I've been working with the town of East Long Meadow since 2016 or 2018, and was an admin, and then moved into the role of the health inspector there. So I have all sides of what it's like for a municipal health department. And I also do tobacco inspections with the Pioneer Valley Tobacco Coalition. So I do service several towns in the Pioneer Valley, including Hadley is one of my territories. So I do the youth compliance with that, and education and tobacco enforcement through that. So I also have my Title V and soil evaluator. So I've experience with that. And yeah.
Well, we couldn't ask for someone with more stellar qualifications, and you left out one of the most important things, which is you are from Hadley.
Oh, yes, I am from Hadley, born and raised.
Okay, well, it's
Yep.
terrific. Okay, do you know Lauren?
I don't know Lauren, no.
So you're not East Long Meadow is not a part of this. So the item number 4 is the public health excellent grants, which Hadley has signed on to. And its focus, I believe Lauren will fill us in more, but from my perspective, its focus has been on when the CTC shut down.
Oh, yeah.
They took over all of our
Contact tracing.
contact
Okay.
tracing.
Okay.
So it's a large grant. They hired a lot of contact tracers. I guess part of what I'm hoping to hear from Lauren tonight is how they're going to pivot.
Yeah.
And I'd like to share with her, a wish list that I have, which would be perhaps they could. We have been in the past many years done water testing.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly Lake Warner for cyanobacteria.
Yeah.
But also, the Connecticut River needs to be tested for E. coli and, all kinds of coliform and pollutants, because we have people who are swimming and recreating in those waters. So I'm wondering if that might be something that they.
Yeah, it's a grant. It's like an open-ended grant.
We'll hear more about it when she comes on, but I think
Yeah.
it's pretty open-ended. And of course, the other thing is if they,
Sure.
Lauren,
Hi.
talking about you.
Oh, good to see you.
Hey, it's me, Susan. This
Lauren,
is
I'm Margaret.
Margaret Mastrangelo, who's a Board of Health member.
Okay.
Peter Lore, who is our administrative assistant.
Okay.
And Alex Rankarati, who is our brand new 10-hour-a-week health agent.
Oh, wonderful.
Works full-time as a health agent for the town of East Long Meadow.
Okay.
The Hadley native, and she has stepped up to take on about 10 hours a week. And we are, hoping in July, when our new fiscal year starts, to have somebody for 19 hours a week. But for now, we have Alex, and we're thrilled. I was just, maybe you want to introduce yourself and just briefly tell us a bit about the Public Health Excellence Grants. And I'm interested to hear what the pivot is going to be now that we are leaving the pandemic behind us.
Oh, Lauren's best at describing the grant, and she looks frozen right now. Lauren,
She lost her connection.
there.
All right, let me try this again.
Who just spoke?
Lauren did.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So definitely stop me if for any reason I lose service. So first of all, thanks for having me, and thanks for making time on your agenda for us to be able to come and talk about the grant. I know it's been a busy couple years and you guys have had jam-packed agendas. So thank you for making time to talk about this tonight. And also I have Allison Willett, who some of you may know. She's from Hadley, and she's one of our nurses working with our regional public health nursing collaborative. So she's somebody that you'll probably see if you haven't already in your town. So she's somebody that's working with us and providing shared services throughout the region. So I know I've met Dr. Molzer before, and thank you all for your time. I just wanted to kind of check in about the Public Health Excellence Grant. As you know, Hadley is a participant in this grant, and basically it's an opportunity to you have regionalized and shared services to help all of our communities better meet the standards that are set forth for the boards of health. You know, in Western Mass, we're really it's challenging to meet the Mass General Law requirements. And so this grant really aims to provide shared services to support towns like Hadley to meet those requirements, and so that your community members have, more public health services moving forward. Even though Allison and I are here tonight, there's a whole team of people behind us really working together. We have Meredith O'Leary at the helm, who the city of Northampton was the one that applied for the grant. And because Northampton is a hub for so many projects, and they have a grants manager, they host the Hampshire Hope organization, as well as the Health Coalition, it was kind of a natural fit to manage this similar regional grant. So the city of Northampton is our host and provides a lot of support. And along with Allison, there's a few other public health nurses that we have. We have folks that are working on the database and collecting data and making that available to towns. And then I'm always your point person. So you all know how to reach me, and I'm really kind of your contact. So anytime you need anything, you just reach out to me, and I can make sure to put you in touch with the right people and get you what you need. So, up until now, and I think Dr. Molzer already kind of, touched upon this grant started about a year ago. It started last June, and we're sort of in that first year, and we're about 9 months behind, because what we really did immediately was start to address those COVID needs and COVID response efforts. And so we had to sort of, kind of put the programming and the education piece on hold and really be responsive to what was going on with COVID. So we did a lot of contact tracing. We had our public health nurses that were supporting us. We've done a lot of vaccination clinics, regional testing, things like that. And we've been to Hadley and done some great clinics and have partnered already. But the COVID activities really kind of took our attention immediately. But as you're mentioning, as the cases are decreasing and we're sort of moving away from COVID, hopefully, and we're seeing a decrease in those services, we're really able to get to what this grant was designed to do, which is more of proactive programmatic public health nursing services, as well as a regional database. So we're really at a key point where we're shifting and we're getting into, and we want to work with our towns on providing those programmatic services and education and public health nursing in your community. So, part of today is just to kind of remind you where we're at and what the grant is about, and also to encourage your board to think about what kind of needs Hadley has and what you'd like to see in Hadley, and then how we can use our team members to help bring those services to Hadley. And so up until now, I just wanted to remind you that we've been doing our COVID vaccination clinics. We've delivered PPE. We've done our regional testing, and what we're going to be moving into in terms of the regional data is providing you with quarterly data. So initially, you've always had access to Hadley's infectious disease information through Maven. And what we'd like to do, and part of this grant addresses, is also providing you with regional data. So you'll have Hadley's numbers, and then you'll have it in relation to the region. So, I think we all know here in Hampshire County, people live in one community and work in the other, or go to school in another community. And so, seeing that infectious disease information across our county, we're hoping is more informative and can help inform your decisions and your board and kind of inform the work that you're doing. So those are kind of the two parts of this grant: is regional public health nursing services, as well as, the regional data. And then moving forward, so ultimately this is a DPH grant, and it's actually going to span 10 years. So we're looking at 9 years of potential extensions on this grant. And what we hope to be moving into in the next couple of years, and I want to highlight, is that although right now we're offering regional public health nursing, and that was kind of our starting point for the grant, what we are planning to do in these next couple of years is expand those regional services to include like inspectional services, septic, restaurants, housing, and additional services for communities, because I know a lot of communities aren't able, to provide that level of staffing or, to always meet all of those needs as well. So this is just a starting point, and we're going to continue to expand to make sure that all your public health needs are met.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So
Terrific.
basically you're saying that the role that you hope this grows into is doing Title V inspections and
Yep.
Everything, food.
food?
Yeah.
And the whole
Lauren,
village.
is there any vision toward water testing, water safety and water testing?
I think that's definitely, included in the kinds of things that we're going to be moving toward. We're not there yet, but those are all things that we're working toward being able to provide. As you all know, there's a lot of things that local boards of health are required to do per Mass General Law, and just realistically, so many can't meet those, even those existing requirements with limited staffing. It's very challenging, especially in Western Mass, and so. This grant really allows us to support communities without you having to hire on more staff and train more people, that, you're able to get those services, while still maintaining, your independence, as a community.
You're preaching to the choir. I mean, as far as the water testing goes, we, East Hampton a lot, and us, and here also in Hadley have, cyanobacterial algal blooms, which are quite toxic. And I also know there's a lot of septic runoff into the Connecticut River, and some of the, I don't know who they are, these, some of the nonprofits, I don't know if it's Watershed or who Jason works, Friends of Lake Warren or whatever, we've been providing some test kits to them for cyanobacteria. First of all, none of us are really trained. That's a polite way of saying it. And
Sure.
Also, we don't, after this year, we're not going to have funding for that anymore.
Actually, I
Right.
think, is it after June?
They extended it,
Yeah.
for the summer, but whatever. So, along with the food inspection and, Title V, all that stuff, the water testing would be on our wish list. That's all.
I was just going to say, I'm going to make sure to bring that back, and I will follow up with you, Dr. Moser. I know we're in touch often, and so I will follow up to confirm that. But if nothing else, your feedback is so helpful, and that's one of the reasons why Allison and I are here tonight. Is you're really the experts on Hadley, and and we're really the support team to come in and help you address the concerns that you've identified in your community. So you guys know Hadley best. You know what your needs are. You know what you can do and what you're struggling to do. And so you can, implore our team to join you and to help fill those gaps. But I will follow up with you on specifically on the water testing to make sure that if that hasn't already been on the list, that's something that's really important to you. And like you mentioned, I know East Hampton, it's an issue as well, because that has come up too. So I'll make sure to include that.
We are challenged with all of the tasks that a Board of Health is tasked to do, basically because up until this week, when Alex joined us for 10 hours a week, we have 0.
Right. Yeah.
Peter's our administrative assistant is incredibly capable. He's, been doing a lot of our permitting, and, we're getting software to do that. It's all been done by hand up until now. I mean, we welcome any help that we can get to meet the requirements of what a Board of Health, what the town is required to do.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, obviously I represent Hampshire County, but I work really closely with all the Region 1 counties, which is Hampshire, Franklin, Hamden, and the Berkshires. And I can tell you something that Hampshire County does so well, really above and beyond any of our neighbors, is we really work well together, and we have phenomenal partnerships. And so this grant is really, providing us with the funding to support the communities. But, we already have those great relationships and collaborations and partnerships that it really has been seamless in a lot of ways. And it seems like a really natural fit that this grant provides us, with funding to hire more staff and be able to support the towns. But the relationships have made it so easy.
Okay, the only other thing, I'm just coming out with these things because I forget quickly, is Allison, we have a public health nurse now working for us 7 hours a week. Her name is Alicia Wright. She's a RN. She works at Cooley Dickinson. So when we hired her, we were in the throes of Omicron, and she's doing our testing, our COVID testing here. But now that that's really winding down, and I thought it might. I don't know exactly what you do, Allison, but it might be nice for you to at least meet Alicia, reach out to her, and because she's so capable.
I have met Alicia. We were setting up for, we were doing a site visit for a vaccination clinic, and she was there doing the testing, the COVID testing. So I introduced myself to her. This was at the Council on Aging building some time ago, though. But yeah, so I met her there. And one of the things that we have worked with in other towns is we have a line, either a link or a phone call. If you have folks who need vaccine brought to them in their home, and we can do a home visit. And what we've done with towns that already have a nurse is that we can provide them with the vaccine, and then they can vaccinate their citizens if they, if that's what they would like to do, or we can help out with that also. But there's lots of ways that we can work hand in hand with towns that already have a nurse who's already in there. And a lot of what I do is education and programming.
Interested in having Alicia do right now. So I think it's great if you, I just spoke with her today about that. And I think she's enthusiastic and she's willing, but I think certainly, she's new to public health.
Okay.
The new
Yeah,
hat.
I would love to chat with her some more to see what, and a lot of what Lauren and I are looking for too is information on what does Hadley need and how can we fill any gaps that are there. And so I'd be happy to speak with.
That would be terrific. I'd love for you two to meet each other, and that would take us kind of out of that loop for her to think about things that she wants to do here.
Sure.
To improve health.
And I think, some of our towns are fortunate, like Hadley, to have a public health nurse for some amount of hours, even if it's 5 or 10 hours. And a lot of times that public health nurse is just able to do the very responsive or the very basic, requirements that the town needs. And so, this grant is able to work alongside your existing nurse setup and kind of bolster it and offer additional things that perhaps in those 5 or 10 hours a week, whatever they're slated for, they're not able to get to. And so you're exactly right that Allison can work directly with her to identify kind of, what things are covered and what things would be great to add and to bolster your offerings. One of the things, since we're just kind of getting away from COVID and, the Council on Agings are starting to open back up and people are getting back out and gathering again. That one great way that a lot of communities are kind of getting started with the grant is inviting our public health nurses to come and do like a coffee hour or, sort of a designated time and location, say once a month or every few weeks, where there's a public health nurse available to your residents. I know a lot of people's healthcare needs were really put on hold during COVID. And so, if they have, basic questions or want someone to talk to or want to run some things by it, that's a great way to get started. You could invite Allison kind of, or one of the nurses to do some coffee hours, to meet with your nurse, to start, talking to some of your residents. And then Allison can kind of get into and rattle off a few things that, they're good with programming. But if you have identified a need for information on blood pressure or, diabetes or wellness or, interpreting lab results and other kinds of things, I mean, Allison can get into some of the expertise, but what we're trying to do is develop kind of a menu of sorts to hand out to all of our towns, listing the programmatic offerings. And that way, Hadley or your nurse, along with your board can identify, well, what are some of the needs in Hadley and choose a matchup of some educational offerings to bring to Hadley.
That's exactly what, I've spoken with our Alicia about. She's very interested in doing it. And I just, the board, we don't need to be micromanaging that at all. And I think it would be great if Allison and Alicia could connect.
Perfect. Allison.
Maybe you could, mentor her a little bit or give her some ideas on how to go about, giving seminars. She's based here at the senior center, so that's where everything would be happening.
How should the two of you actually connect?
That was my next question is, what's the best way for me to reach her?
She's got an email.
Right, she has an email here.
Could I find it through the senior center? Could I find her through there?
Let me just.
Only during the hours that she's here. Hold on, we'll get you her. She has a Hadley email. I think it's nurse@Hadley. We'll find it for you.
Okay.
Perfect. And if you email it to me, I can always send it on to Allison too, Dr. Mosler. But I think that this is a really exciting opportunity. I think you guys probably know better than anyone that public health has often kind of taken a back seat and the funding and support has been pretty minimal. And so we're really excited, to have this funding and this opportunity to work together and really bolster what we have here in Western Mass and certainly in Hampshire County. So it's an exciting time. It's a big change for public health. But as I said, our relationships and good working relationships are already there. And so this is giving us the funds to hire staff, with expertise to be able to come into the communities. And moving forward, as I mentioned, we'll have the inspectional services, housing, restaurants, camps, Title V, food service establishments, those kind of things, which, most people can benefit from as well. So we'll get into that in the days and months ahead.
Lucky we're wearing masks because we're all drooling.
Oh, good. Well, I am so, this is an exciting time, as I said, and we have a great team. Allison and I are here representing tonight, but there's a whole team of really talented people that are excited to work with you all. And we're excited to be on the cutting edge of all this great work.
All right, the email, her name is Alicia,
With a Y.
Alycia. And you can reach her at nurse@hadleyma.org.
Perfect.
She's lovely, she's smart, she's enthusiastic, and I think with some guidance, is a terrific resource for our town, and also to, work with you, Allison, and the other coordinators.
Great. So our next steps are Allison's going to reach out to the public health nurse and address, those kind of needs. Dr. Moser, you know how to reach me. So any of you can reach out at any time if you have questions. In these coming months, we're going to be compiling our data. We found that, just 1 month's worth of data isn't all that informative. So we're going to be really looking at quarterly data, both in Hadley and then regionally. And we'll start providing you with that on a quarterly basis so that you can, we'll provide you with the data, and then you can do with it as you please and review it as a board, and help it and use it to help inform your decisions. And then we'll continue to move forward and check in. And of course, you can check in with us anytime you have questions or need support. This grant is flexible, which we really love. Towns can add if they're not part of it already. There's nothing binding. If you find that you don't need this, you can drop off, and you can, add services as they're needed. So with contact tracing during COVID, we were doing a lot of it. And, if you find that your nurse wants to do more of that, we can back off. Really, you're still in the driver's seat and can kind of let us know, when you need help.
Yeah, we don't want to be driving. So, yeah.
Well, let me just ask then, so if Alex needs assistance in what she's doing, can she also call on you?
Yeah, absolutely. And so remind me again, Alex is doing the inspectional services?
Doing everything.
Yeah, Alex.
Everything.
You wanna
Alex
say?
can,
Yeah, well, anything that comes up, like any complaints, housing complaints, food inspections and complaints.
Yeah.
Back, Title V, camps, anything that's really needed.
Yeah. So that is definitely like the next phase of this grant where it's headed. We're not quite there yet. That system isn't quite built. But that being said, Northampton really has been a great resource and a great mentor and a great leader in a lot of these areas. So, by all means, I know that they would be, welcome a phone call and would be able to share any sort of information or
they've been very,
as you're getting going. This particular grant isn't there yet. It's not set up with that structure just yet. That's where we're moving toward. But in the meantime, Northampton is just a great resource and a great friend to public health. So they would welcome a phone call and would be able to help support you because they have more staff. So they have, several inspectors and people that can offer some experience.
Lauren, when do you imagine these new initiatives might be up and running? Just a guesstimate.
Yeah, well, so we would hope it would be like next year, but we're about 9 months behind because of COVID, that we were really kind of responding. So we're really told in the next couple years that that's where this is going. So we're just trying to kind of start with the public health nursing and the infectious disease information. And then that is the next, that's the next piece.
Got it.
Yeah.
We're on our own for a couple more years. Okay.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for having both Allison and I. Allison, do you want to talk at all about any of your programming?
I think that the needs, what I can provide, like, right away, the quickest thing that I can put together is I have hours of education on Lyme disease and how to work with your yard to help prevent tick populations. I have a lot of sleep, talks like that, talks on basic health. And we could do blood pressure checks. We can work with, if I had someone say to me, my doctor says I'm pre-diabetic and I need to cut down on my carbohydrates, and what's a carbohydrate? So fundamental basic things like that. So there's another nurse in the grant, Denise, who also has a lot of work experience with education. So there's a lot of different things that we can cover and also put together pretty quickly if there's a subject that's of interest for the population that in particular.
Well, that's great. And Alicia can work with you on that.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Unless you guys have any other questions, we will continue to stay in touch and be in touch with you as things continue to develop, and as needs arise, we'll be sure to stay in touch about those.
Thank you both so much. Most appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get back to Alex at this point, just to sort of think you were telling me you were going to, or through email exchanges, that you were going to be dealing with those McDonald's.
Yep, well, I got Peter forwarded me a complaint about Wendy's, so I'm gonna go there for the complaint, as well as the ice cream was over the bacterial limit for both Wendy's and McDonald's.
Yeah, and every time they get tested, they fail.
Yeah, so somebody needs to go there and have them actually empty out their machine and make sure that they empty it, sanitize and
And
clean
they
it.
need to do it regularly. That's the
Yeah.
problem. They're not doing that.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully with somebody going there, having them actually empty
that's
it on
terrific.
site
Yeah,
and
thank
then
you.
come back. I mean, really, it should be emptied and shouldn't be used again until it's tested and it comes back okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and then maybe if I can just review the process of how they're sanitizing it and how often they're sanitizing it, just give them a reminder.
Okay.
Then it'll start come back good, because no one should be using those machines right now. And then the other thing was going to Maple Foods.
Maple Farm. Yeah.
Maple Farms, yeah. So I want to review those.
I'm trying to think how we finally left it. I know I have the reports in the office.
Yep.
I've circled some of them.
Yep, I need to pick them up. I now have a key, so
Perfect.
I gotta get the key.
And Peter, I had those stack of files when I had collated all those reports. Remember, I put them in like manila folders or something.
There are food inspections.
Yeah, all the
Yeah,
food
Peter's
inspections.
got them. They're
Yes.
right there.
They're right there. Okay, so
Yeah.
you can have a look. Yeah, and I
They're
think I
right on the desk.
alphabetized them all
And does
too.
she have access to the Google that has all the,
You forward me
That's
the-
got all the reports
Oh, the
on it?
Google Docs?
Not that.
because we get
No,
them
that
also
was,
on a shared
You
Google
know who
Doc.
that was? Who gave us permission for that was Meredith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Meredith have to then add
I'll ask
anything?
Donna Bowman for it. Yeah, 'cause I
Okay.
know she was the last person to do the inspection, so
Yeah,
I'll
get
talk to
yourself
her.
on that so you can
Yeah.
get the inspection reports. It's much easier than the.
yeah.
Yeah, then looking through it all.
Yeah.
And I don't think maybe they've added to it, but back at the end of November, beginning of December, everything that had been done was done. Now,
Okay.
with the latest reports that I saw, they were really dated December, but they weren't part of what I collated from my report.
Okay,
And that's in the one is in one of those inter-office envelopes, and
Mhm.
another one was in a big manila mailed envelope.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll touch base with the last person that inspected and see
Okay,
what's
great.
going on.
Jane asked if you could have a look at Golden Court. There was an issue between a tenant and whoever the landlord was.
Mhm.
It was about, well, who's got jurisdiction? Everyone was like, no one has jurisdiction. And there was a mouse infestation.
Right.
In the end, management sent in someone, but Jane said it needs to be followed up on.
Is it, what kind of, is Golden Court, is it like?
Senior housing.
Senior housing, okay, so it's multiple units within one,
Yeah, it's all just on
But-
one
but
level,
the-
right over here.
okay,
And though the bigger question, which Jane still has not gotten an answer for, is who has purview over that? Because we've been told different things. We've been told that Hadley does not have any say in what goes on there because it's funded through,
So,
yeah, who
so,
funds it?
so the
I
backstory
have no
is,
idea, but there's a-
Belchertown,
there's a
Amherst,
legal issue that has to
Yeah.
get settled.
but so,
Okay.
so what had happened was, I guess it used to be ours.
Yeah.
But then Amherst, Belchertown, and Hadley combined services that is now handled by someone in Belchertown, or
Okay.
maybe Amherst now, I'm not sure. And so they have been the point person.
Mhm.
But then they say, well, it's not their issue, but then it's sort of like not ours either, because we no longer, our services
I see.
are grouped with
Okay.
them, and they are actually the management.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe
We-
you can talk to Jane because before we do anything there, we really have to straighten that out.
yeah, and I'm not sure,
Yeah.
Jane just said Golden Court needs to be seen, and could I ask you?
Yeah, I know,
So,
but she- yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I don't, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know how we were talking about who's responsible for the mice? Since it's a multiple unit, it would be the landlord. It would be the owner.
Right, yeah, that we were
Yeah.
told, but the question is
Who's the
who
owner?
who,
Yeah.
under whose watch is that state public housing?
So when we get a complaint, does it go to you? Does it go to
Belchertown.
Belchertown? And uh, there was
You know,
another
where does
issue
the
with
buck
that.
stop? I mean, that's
yeah.
really the question.
Because you had said, when we were talking before about this, that if you go into the house and there's not a gap underneath the door that would allow mice in, and there's no obvious signs of entry, that it would be the tenant's responsibility.
Right, in a single house. So if there's multiple units within one building, it is the
If
landlord.
multiple units are
Yeah.
affected, then it's the landlord. It's
Yeah.
definitely, this is definitely
It's definitely the landlord.
the management's issue
Uh-huh.
there. Because I've been on the Board of Health 2 years and multiple complaints
Uh-huh.
where
Yeah.
management has not been responsive. But
Yeah.
it keeps coming back to the same thing.
Yeah,
Where does the buck stop? And Jane said that she was gonna
Check with the attorney, I think.
talk
right?
to our town attorney and somebody has to figure that
Mhm.
out. I just don't know how to figure it out.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, well, if we know who funds it, then maybe we can ask the state who would be responsible.
if you talk to Jane, she knows.
Yeah.
She
And
knows
she's
about it.
actually, we can, if we need to, we can pull her out, and she could, because she's doing a climate change
Okay,
group right
Yeah.
now, but she's available, she
Yeah.
said, so maybe that would be worth
I mean,
for the two of you to connect before you head out.
yeah,
yeah, you can do if you want. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
So it sounds like you've got enough right now on your plate with these inspections that we're talking about and maybe
Yep.
remedial plans and that sort of thing?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, and then the other one was about the kimchi.
Oh,
Prepping them
right.
too.
Yes, I thought that was a brilliant idea, if you could
Yeah.
work with him, because he vehemently denied it, and then the inspector said it was obvious he was doing it. I'm not sure what I'm looking for.
I'm pretty sure it says on their refrigerator that they make it, but yeah. But if they know someone's willing to work with them to create a hazard plan, and then I can give them a template for them to create one,
Good.
because,
And Margaret, can you check in with Alex every
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
we've
whatever
already
you
sort of
guys-
said, you know, we
just,
would do
just so we
that, yeah.
know, have a
Yeah.
general idea. We don't want to manage you, but we just want to have a general idea
Yeah,
of
of course.
what's each week is bringing. So
How would it work for you? What's the easiest way for you to just, do you want to just send me emails? Do you want to?
Probably create a master tracker of what I'm doing and share it with you. If that's good with you, and send you emails as well.
Okay,
great.
all right, I don't want to hold you up
No.
here. Is there any issues that you have?
You received this SOW document,
I have not,
still have not,
no.
okay, because it went to
Well,
Robin.
I thought that he had the ID, but not the actual contract.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will go upstairs tomorrow then.
Yeah.
It was Deb doing that?
No,
All right,
well,
so,
it was, excuse me, it was Deb and Carolyn.
Okay,
so
yeah.
septic Title V stuff, Peter, I either get it via voicemail, which I will forward to you, or
Okay.
Peter gets it from the regular email.
Yeah.
And we'll get that to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Um, You have the key, so
Got the key now?
So the key is good for the outside door
Yeah.
to the town hall, as well as the door to the Board of Health office. So if you need to go in and grab something or
Yeah.
drop something off, you can also drop stuff off in the mail slot as well.
Okay.
All the mail slots are in between the collector's office and the town clerk's office.
Okay.
But if you have like a big pile of stuff or it's confidential, then,
And you're
put
welcome
it
to
in the office.
work in that office. I mean, if
Yeah.
you want, that's,
Okay.
I didn't know where you wanted to work. But
Yeah.
you're certainly more than welcome to be in there. Peter's in there. We're not, we don't go in there.
I go in generally after hours, either early in the morning or later on in the evening. So is there anything you need from me right now?
As of right now, no.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for everything.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
Welcome,
really,
good
Many
luck.
thanks.
thank you so much.
So, yeah, just call me. You've got
Yeah.
my numbers, and otherwise,
You're gonna be away for a couple of weeks?
I'm going to be
Well-
away.
Well, if you have anything, just call
Right.
me, or Peter, or any of
Yeah.
us. We're here to do whatever we can do.
Right.
To make your life easier.
Yeah. Thank you.
Terrific. Okay, well, you don't have to stay,
Yeah, you're
so.
done. Thank you.
Should I?
Yeah, here, want me to,
Permits.
Right, we'll wait for Margaret to get
Yeah.
back and then we'll vote on. Thank you. Permits?
Okay, so permits this week, we have kind of a mixed bag. We have 4 of them that need to get approved. One of them is for a food establishment permit. 2 of them are for septage haulers. And then we also have one for somebody looking for a permit as a disposal works installer. So I don't know if you want to do 3 separate votes, or do you want it
No, I think we can clump them.
all together? Okay, so let's start with the food establishment. It's Bed Bath and Beyond. Again, it's a renewal.
Right.
it's just generally
Yeah.
candies and
Yeah,
packages.
they're
right?
still doing well. They filled out the application. They've paid the fee. So that's food establishment. For the disposal works installer, it's a company called Gallagher Enterprises. They are in, I want to say, Southampton. But again, they have sent in their application, and they have also paid their fee. I can give you the spelling of these after the meeting.
Sure.
And then the other two are looking for permits as septic haulers. One is Republic Services, and the other one is Casella Waste. Both these organizations, or both those companies, they're nationwide vendors. And so one of them has an office in Chicopee, and the other one, I forget where they are. I want to say Holyoke. But again, they're nationwide players. They're like the McDonald's and Burger King of what they do. And again, both of them have sent in their credentials. They sent in their application, and they've paid the fees. So those four, if you guys approve them tonight, what I'll do is I'll email them their permits tomorrow, and we'll have them.
All right, motion to approve.
Yes,
Okay, let's vote.
favor,
Mastrangelo,
Mastrangelo.
yes. Mosler, yes. Okay, the permits are approved.
Thank you.
Do we have any other business?
yeah, I have, I spoke, Peter, to Carl's Excavation today. And what I suggested they do is send us a letter for the property on Rocky Hill Road and state the work that they did. It had to do more with a sinkhole, and they had to replace the tank as a result of the sinkhole. So it wasn't, it wasn't like a septic 5 thing. And they weren't in,
Okay.
it was just, it was a sinkhole, and they had
Okay.
to do that. And then we'll get Richard Wilga to also say that he inspected it, get that signed, and then give to the homeowners. Because I explained we don't have that record.
So who is Richard sending that to? To
Well,
you?
so
to me,
yeah,
to
so we'll
Board of
have to
Health?
somehow coordinate that. I asked her, maybe it was Deb, I don't remember, at Carl's Excavation to just send us a letter to the Board of Health.
Okay.
We'll get that printed out. I'll print up something that Richard inspected it in
Yeah.
October, blah, blah, blah.
Take care.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks for coming.
And get him to sign it, and then we can just give it to the property owners.
Fine. Okay. Yeah, and I know who the property owner is. I mean,
Oh.
he's by name and by
Sure.
phone calls and whatnot.
And then that's all the new business that I have that just came up yesterday. So, any other new business?
No, the other thing that you and I need to connect on when you get back is figure out when we can get.
We're gonna do the
with permit.
training. Yeah.
I've told Scott that again, you're going away. I didn't know when you're going away, but I told him, if we get together this month, it's going to be late March. Otherwise, it's going to have to be pushed in April.
It'll be in April.
But again, permits we're up to date. I mean, there's still maybe, I'm guessing 4 or 5 food establishments that have not renewed yet. But I'm not sure if they're actually still in business. Because their names, again, I don't go up and down Route 9 myself, but
So,
they're not companies that I'm familiar with. So
so at
someday, go ahead.
some point, we could get a number for all of the permitted food vendors that we have in Hadley? Good, okay.
Yeah.
great.
So I have a database of sorts
Okay.
in Excel, which will get transferred to permit.
Well,
link.
that's terrific. I mean, we never had that
Yeah,
before.
because again, what I thought is,
Yeah.
it's mine, it's,
Yeah.
I did it, it's like, it's not professional. So again, so the game plan is to
I'm
take
sure
that
it
data
is,
and move it to permit link.
Yeah.
That way, again,
Good.
permit link will do the thinking.
Right.
So that if it's time to renew, permit link will know that to send out letters
Yes, no,
and
it's great.
reminders and blah,
The
blah,
whole
blah.
thing is
And
great.
I won't be doing it manually, so.
Yeah, so I'll be back April 3rd, late that night. So April 4th, I'll be. back on
What
board.
day of the
Okay.
week is it?
I come back late Sunday.
So can we
Monday.
meet that Thursday?
Yeah, that would be April 7th, 8th.
That'd be the 7th of the 4th, this Monday.
So that would be our next meeting.
Yeah, that was the other thing that I was gonna ask is when is our next meeting?
All right.
Yeah,
so
April 7th.
All right, so
April
we'll
7th.
adjourn the meeting.
Okay, all those in favor, motion,
Yeah,
we're
we're done.
adjourned. We're done.
Okay.